I'm still team trade Adam Thielen. Over this weekend, I saw so many takes of don't just give him away for free. No one is advocating to give him away for free. But I do think that I would take less than many of you. Bill Barnwell, ESPN, put out a list of 10 trades that would make sense before the season. And one of them was the Panthers sending Adam Thielen to the Vikings for a 6th and a 7th pick. 6th and a 7th round pick. I'm fine with that. I would say a 5th straight up or a 6th and a 7th combined, take it. Now, I've given you a bunch of good reasons. Adam Thielen's 35. He's on the last year of a contract. Minnesota's desperate. You're risking letting him walk for nothing. There's no guarantee that he's going to be great this year. He's getting older. He was hurt last year. There's a lot of reasons that are Adam Thielen reasons why I think the trade should happen. And I like Adam Thielen as a player. If I were a contender, I would not be entertaining this thought. But the Panthers aren't a contender. But I have a new angle for you this time. It's Jaylen Coker. Jaylen Coker makes Adam Thielen expendable. And the crazy part is how difficult it is that the Panthers pulled off what they pulled off with Jaylen Coker. Jaylen Coker was an undrafted free agent out of Holy Cross. You brought him in, and it took you a while to figure out what you had. You waived him. You put him on the practice squad. Injuries forced you to pull him up. But pretty much from the moment you gave him an opportunity, he's been very good. That is exceptional work. Congratulations, Dan Morgan. Congratulations, Brant Tillis, whoever in the scouting department went to Holy Cross or watched the Holy Cross film. You did the impossible. You found a rotational level wide receiver in an undrafted free agent heap. I don't know, I don't know why, but my timelines on social media were flooded with stuff from something called The National, which is a giant sports trading card memorabilia, conference. And all the stories, where I'm sure they were fake, but all these influencers would be walking around and they'd be looking in the dollar bin, right? There'd be cards that are worth $10,000, and just to the left there would be a dollar bin where every card was $1, and they'd find a card worth $5,000 in the dollar bin and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a lucky YouTuber." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you put that card right there, right before you started filming. But either way, the Panthers did it. They looked in the dollar bin and found a $5,000 card. They did it. They did the hard part. To get the full value of it, though, you have to get him on the field. You hit on an undrafted free agent wide receiver. Now you need to build his role to take advantage of it. There are a lot of undrafted free agent wide receivers that are near the end of the roster around the NFL. Guys that are good returners, or guys that are good coverage guys, or depth pieces that might be. There's a lot of 52nd men on the roster that are undrafted free agents. There aren't many wide receiver threes that are undrafted free agents still on the deal that they signed as undrafted free agents. The way you take advantage of Jaylen Coker the most is to get rid of Adam Thielen's cap hit and replace him with Jaylen Coker for nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Adam Thielen. He's a great safety blanket for Bryce Young. He brings that veteran experience to the wide receiver room where a lot of the other guys are, young and inexperienced. But we've been talking so much about this wide receiver roster jam this whole preseason. Does make it a lot easier if you move one of the guys out and create another roster spot for you to be able to keep your young guys that have potentially really high unlimited talent. Not even just Jaylen Coker, but someone like a Jimmy Horn, who we've seen showcase his talent in college especially. You want to have him be able to have a significant role, not just special teams or punt returning or whatever it might be. So it does make things a little bit easier in terms of just the roster numbers.
The it's strange talking about the Panthers as if they have a logjam at wide receiver, because I'm not going to, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting their wide receiver room at the top of any rankings, right? It's not like, well, there's the Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and then the Panthers with Petteroa, McMillan, and Jaylen Coker. Like, I'm not doing that, but what I'm saying is rookie contracts are the secret sauce in a rebuild. Right? You hit on players that are young, they're cheap, and you build around them, and you can spend more elsewhere, and you can save on the cap elsewhere, and there's other things you can do. But the only way it works is if you get those guys on the field. If you, like, say you drafted, we're seeing it right now with the Giants, right? The Giants may have hit on Jackson Dart. I don't know if he did. I wasn't super high on him pre-draft, but he looked really good in the preseason. If they're still playing Russell Wilson, they're not getting the benefit of maybe hitting on Jackson Dart, which is why I think there's at least a better than 0% possibility that either Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, or some combination thereof are traded here early in the year when maybe someone else gets hurt, or even before the season, because they have to get Jackson Dart on the field to make it make sense, to get that value. Adam Thielen right now is a 35-year-old. Birthday last week. Happy birthday, Adam. 35-year-old that is doing, like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Right now, he's the only thing preventing your top 3 wide receivers from being 2 second-year players and a rookie. But he's also the only one keeping valuable reps from 2 second-year players and a rookie who have their entire career ahead of them. Like, you have to get the young guys out there. You have to get them depended upon in you have to get them depended upon in big moments. It's the only way they're going to learn. And then the other side is get something back for it. Get something back for it. You get a 6th and a 7th. And by the way, did anybody see what the let me make sure I get all the trades right. Did anybody see what the Eagles did this weekend?
I saw the Adam Schefter notification, a hat trick of trades.
A hat trick of trades that were all just 6th and 7th moving around and shuffling. And sure enough, because they're the Eagles and they have a front office that is kind of crushing it right now, obviously coming off a Super Bowl championship, they are They're better off for it, and they sent this guy away for a 6th, went and got this guy for a 7th, sent that guy away for a 6th. Even if you're like, what's a future 6th round pick going to do for you? You can flip and turn it into something. It's a gross way to look at sports, right? You don't want to do this because it makes you feel like you're dehumanizing athletes. But at a certain point, you got to look at them like assets, like literal trading cards. Adam Thielen right now might be worth a 5th. He might be worth a 6th and a 7th. 6 months from now, he's worth nothing. Absolutely zero. So how, if you are the Panthers, can you take that value and create it into something that will be of value for you 6 months from now? If you get the 5th rounder for it, you might just say, we'll draft some guy in the 5th next year. By the way, the Vikings have 1 billion picks. You also might say, we'll take that 5th, like the Eagles just did, and flip it for a player at a position of need because we actually have some depth at wide receiver, and we can go find a veteran for a 5th round pick from somewhere else at a corner. Right? It doesn't have to end there. Every trade isn't in a vacuum. Build value over and over and over again. Turn Adam Thielen into something of more value. Turn that something of more value into something of more value, and do that over and over and over again. It's the I don't even know if this is true.
It's like the guy who flipped the pen into a house. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not saying Adam Thielen's a paperclip, but it kind of makes sense, right? You start with a paperclip, you trade it for a pencil, you trade the pencil for a pen, you trade the pen for a calculator, you trade the calculator for a remote control car, trade the remote control car for a bigger remote control car, you trade the remote control car for a TV, you trade the TV, and then all of a sudden you own a house. It all started with a paperclip. There's some guy that did that. I think it was in like the UK or something. But that's good GMing. And matter of fact, some of it's in the NBA has happened that way. where the Thunder turned Serge Ibaka into 2 firsts, and they turned one of those firsts into Paul George, and they turned Paul George into 4 firsts, and they turned those 4 firsts into and SGA. Then they turned and all of a sudden it all turned out that they basically took one aging big man, undersized big man, and turned it into a dynasty. You can't go broke making a profit. If there's an opportunity for the Panthers to make a profit off of Adam Thielen right now and open up some opportunities for guys like Jaylen Coker to build their value, now we're moving in the right direction. Now Jaylen Coker is worth more, and you got something back for Adam Thielen. You can flip that into something else, and that's the only way it works. And it works that way for everybody. Everybody. Philadelphia Eagles won a championship last year. They're out there trying to get 1% better on trades involving 6th rounders. You see what they did with Derrick Nnadi? Derrick Nnadi was on the Chiefs for like 6 or 7 years, hits free agency, signs with the Eagles. You know what the Eagles did? Traded him back to the Chiefs during preseason. Got like a 6th round pick for it, or a 6th pick swap or something. Could have just cut him, right? Could have made a spot for him on the roster. But instead, they're going to get 1% better on a guy at the end of the bench, fleecing the team that knows everything about him. Fleecing might be a strong word there because the Chiefs are also pretty good at it.